But now, as promised, let's get to the auto sector. A story that came in yesterday revealed that Maruti Suzuki's big launch for the year, which is the e-vitara, Grand Vitara's EV version, that production could be delayed on the back of the rare earth magnets crisis. Parikshit is here with some perspective on this. Parikshit?
Yes, Maruti Suzuki clearly feeling the heat as a result of China's export curbs on rare earth magnets. The big launch for them this year was the electric Vitara. They had showcased the e-Vitara with great fanfare at the Auto Expo. The plan was to start exports and have a commercial launch in India probably between July and August. All of that could be delayed right now because of the export curbs. And there is not enough stock of rare earth magnets to make the e-Vitaras, as many e-Vitaras as was planned earlier. We hear from sources that the company had an initial plan in April to make 88,000 electric Vitaras. That outlook was earlier slashed to 67,000. For the period between April and September, the company had a plan to make 26,500 electric Vitaras. Because of the current magnet crisis, that outlook has been slashed to 8,200 electric cars only. What Maruti hopes is to make up for the loss of production from October onwards. So they feel that the production can be adjusted and somehow the company will still manage to meet its revised production outlook for the e-Vitara at 67,000 units in the full fiscal year FY26. But for the moment, clearly there is a problem. We've been told by sources that the start of production has not been deferred. Production is taking place of the e-Vitara, but in small quantities, and perhaps this would be only for addressing the export market initially.
Okay, all right, Parikshit, thank you very much for that. So this is beginning to bite. It's getting real, no longer just within the realm of discussion. Let's take it forward with Hormazd Sorabjee, editor at Autocar India, and Vinkesh Gulati, director at United Automobile, and of course the former president of FADA, the Federation of Automotive Dealer Association. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining in. Hormazd, let me open up with you. I mean, if you go by the reports last 5-10 days, the Chinese have started giving these magnets to the Europeans. They're giving it as part of the trade talk to Stellantis, to GM, to Ford. But there's still no breakthrough for us. They're still not giving these magnets to us. What do you think the fallout could start, could be July onwards if this is still not resolved?
No, I think it is. It's really a major issue. It's like someone said, the microchip semiconductor shortage or crisis on steroids. It's even worse because really production lines can completely stop, and we have no alternative but to source from China. And as we know, because of the geopolitical issue, there are going to be difficulties. And let's not forget, even India is not such a critical market for China yet. Obviously, they would kind of prioritize the Europeans. Don't forget, a lot of European brands have investments and they're huge in China, whether it's Volkswagen. So I think clearly you will see that the countries like Germany and all, they will be prioritized first. And I think India, from what I understand, there's no headway yet. And it's a very long and laborious process to get the approval. So I think that also is a challenge. So I think this is really could, precipitate into a major issue if it's not solved quickly.
So, Hormazd, just in terms of understanding potential impact, what happens? I mean, I'm not sure what inventory levels would manufacturers be holding right now, but players like Tata Motors, or I mean everybody for that matter, EVs are everywhere, including the major EV players here in India right now, which could be unlisted entities like BYD as well. What should we be prepared for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the EV players definitely they will be impacted the most clearly because the electric motors need these rare earth magnets, and without that you can't build a car. But it's not just the EVs; it's even the standard ICE vehicles, which take about half the quantity of rare earth magnets an EV would. But even then, even in an ICE car, you've got components like the EPS, the the power steering motors, the electric window motors. So all these components need rare earth magnets. So really, I think as you know, motors have been miniaturized. That's where rare earth magnets have their advantage, and that's what has been in use in the industry, and everyone's using them. It's actually just a commodity, but I think when one country controls 90% of the supply chain, that's when it becomes a problem.
So what other countries do you think can be drummed up? Because for production, etc., there is always that China plus one sort of strategy. But for natural resources, what other countries do you believe have the potential for supply? Or are there any alternatives here? Because this can't be, so lopsided.
Well, I think the thing about rare earths is actually it's in abundance. It's everywhere. Even we have them. Why it's rare is very, very difficult to extract. And that kind of, let's say the extraction process requires huge investments and billions of dollars. It's literally like taking a needle out of a haystack, because they're in such minute quantities. To mine them, then to process them, and then to convert them into a finished product is hugely capital intensive. So I think that's where really the challenge is, and I think that's where China has taken a lead over everyone, the rest of the world, and to set up that sort of capability of extraction, production, and then finally producing a finished product. That I think is the issue, and that can't be done overnight.
Absolutely. I mean, as some estimates suggest, that I think over 90% of the world's refining capacity for these rare earths, that is in China, and therefore they hold the key. And I think there's some talks already about India looking to get self-reliant, like we did in semiconductors when we started now putting up those fab units and plants. But then again, these are multi-year stories. You don't produce those magnets overnight. So your concern is well taken, Hormazd. If I could come to you, Vinkesh. Now, the issue is that let's understand what are current inventory levels like. I mean, what's your assessment, both on EV and ICE passenger vehicles? Till inventory is still okay, maybe we tide over it and hopefully there's a resolution. So it's important to understand that. Give us your perspective.
So good morning. Thanks for having me. We have just released the data, the FAD, if you have seen. It's 52 days to 53 days. We have inventory at the dealership level, which normally we don't say, but I feel it's lucky to have when this rare earth material magnet problems have cropped up. And additional to this, what the messages we are getting from our OEMs is they are also sitting at 4 weeks to 6 weeks inventory at their plants or in the process of manufacturing, which clearly shows that as of now, we are sorted at least till August mid or end. But if this continues, the problem will crop up from September, which is the festive this time, because Navratri is coming in September. There are some good dates in August also, but I feel the inventory at the dealership and at the OEMs will sort out till that time. And I hope till that time some problems will be resolved, maybe diplomatically or whatever things be.
That's really important, and I appreciate you, being candid on this with us, Vinkesh. I mean, typically the industry doesn't give out the real picture for obvious reasons, pricing concerns, etc. But what you're saying is that between dealerships and back at OEM plants, we're covered for a good 3 months, in terms of inventory till end of August. June, July, August, we'll be fine, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
So mid-August or end August, it will continue, because see, this is the time of a low season when the rains are there and so overall scenario, so there are no auspicious occasions and all that. So from August, things will start coming back, and till that time we are covered. So,
but that kind of brings me back to the other related issue as well, which we've been all discussing. I mean, the market's been watching these numbers carefully, and PVs, barring Mahindra and Mahindra, especially from a listed universe, I mean, it's been a non-starter, right? Low single digit, flat. Those are the kind of sales numbers that we've been getting at the wholesale level. Hormazd, maybe you take this up. I don't know if this crisis will prove to be a turning point, but otherwise, PV sales have failed to enthuse or surprise. I remember when Hyundai was listing, I remember categorically, an answer that the management gave us. And I'd asked this, that what's a steady state growth expectation? So he said, look at historical data. 4% to 5% passenger vehicle growth for a company should be okay in India. Your thoughts on the big picture?
Well, I think, to be honest, we've had many years of stellar growth. We're around, 4.3 million. And, to expect consistent and the same rate of growth off that very high base, I think is quite unrealistic. I think, we have to also accept that, the demand situation, it definitely is tapering off. I think multiple reasons also. I think cars are also just getting more and more expensive. And I think, I think even the replacement cycle, we've kind of, how do I say, we've kind of absorbed that one huge replacement cycle. And, I think right now it is cyclical in that sense. And Vinkesh will also bear me out. I think we are going through a phase of, let's say, flattish growth or no growth. And then I think, again, we'll get into the cycle where we will see growth again. So I think this is actually quite normal. And I don't think it's anything that I would see as unexpected, because I think to expect, let's say, double-digit growth was unrealistic. I think even high single-digit growth is unrealistic off this very high base right now.
Right. Let's give the last word to Vinkesh. Vinkesh, what about EV penetration? It's been a lot slower than what the street was anticipating this time around. So for non-EV makers, it is positive, but for EV, the entire ecosystem that everyone was betting on, it's not growing as fast. Where are your expectations on EV penetration, specifically in four-wheelers and also two-wheelers? It's been slightly slower than expected.
And if I could just supplement Mangalam's question, Vikesh, also tell us about any upcoming launches that could kind of fire up. Now, the e-vitara seems to be a casualty of this rare earth crisis. So would you expect any other companies to encounter the same? Go on, tell us more about your outlook on EV.
See, very frankly, 2025 was the EV launch of the year. So we have a lot of EV launches which we have seen in the Auto Expo Bharat Mobility Show this year, from Hyundai, Creta, e-Creta, and then e-vitara, Mahindra launching in, Tata planning of one or two more products in coming months. So we have always expected that 2025 will be an year where most of the OEMs will have an EV in their bandwidth, which means most of the dealers will be selling an electric vehicle from their showroom, which wasn't there till 2024. And now, because of all the delayed launches, like Creta is still delayed. Now, e-vitara, we heard because of rare earth material being delayed. This all is clearly showing that EV adoption of the year would not be 2025. I feel 2026 will be where when we start seeing bigger numbers or bigger ratios. We are currently at 4 to 5%. I feel it will start growing by 2026, when at least all Maruti dealers, Hyundai dealers, Kia already has, but a high price product. Mahindra is already there. Tata is already there. When 4 of the top 6 OEMs dealers will have a good EV, which is around 20-25 lakhs to sell, then we'll start seeing the numbers going up. No doubt the EV adoption as of now has a lot of challenges, but still the way things are going in passenger vehicle was expected. It's a good percentage as compared. And on the other hand, two-wheeler also, if you see the percentage is increasing month by month. We are now averaging more than 1 lakh vehicle per month. And I'm hoping with the kind of even HMSI has now finally announced those 2 products they are coming in. As we get those 2 products, the same thing, we'll get 80% of the two-wheeler dealers now getting an electric vehicle. So I feel the most important thing for EV adoption is actually jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai. Every dealer should have a product in the dealership, or else they'll actually work against it. So
absolutely. Take your point, and this already sets us up for our next discussion. I'm looking forward to that one. That will 2026 be the year of EV adoption, as Vinkesh is saying, and then what will it be? Would it continue to be those EV SUVs, or would it be something else? Which segment will lead? I think that's a good one for the next time. But for today, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining in on what continues to be a big challenge, the rare earth magnet crisis, as it is rightfully being called around the world as well.